Hey, what's up, everyone? Dragon here with
Ashley.
doing a trailer reaction, or rather a Comic-Con sneak peek reaction. This one for Justice League. I guess it dropped this weekend because Comic-Con, so big surprise. A lot of things are kind of coming out.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it really does. So obviously, Justice League. We all know it's coming. You know, big deal. So we're not gonna bore you guys with a lot of like pretext. So let's just get right into it. So here we go. Let's do that little like trailer before the trailer.
Pre-trailer
I know.
thing, yeah. Bam. Saw some wonder.
This weekend, Diana.
Me? Nothing very interesting.
The world remains in mourning after the death of the Superman.
And where is the Gotham Bat? The mass vigilante has been a no-show.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It has to.
Cool. So we're gonna see it
I
again.
was gonna say.
Something is coming.
No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonian. This world will fall. Like all the others.
One misses the days when one's biggest concerns were exploding wind-up penguins.
This is crazy. Honestly, I think we're all gonna die.
Each of us, in some way, is held back.
Don't engage alone. We'll do this together.
It's really cool. You guys seem ready to do battle and stuff, but I've never done battle. I've just pushed some people and run away.
Relax, Alfred. I'll take it from here.
Do I know you?
Superman was a beacon to the world. He didn't just save people. He made them see the best parts of themselves.
Alright.
I don't recognize this world.
We don't have to recognize him. We just have to save it.
Me, the body surgery.
How many of you are there? Not enough. Do you really think that...
Oh, wow, they really just vanished. Huh? Oh, that's rude.
You said you'd come. Now let's hope you're not too late.
Well then, like the fall is really like I feel like all the really big anticipated movies in the fall. You have October. You have Blade Runner 2049. There's Shape of Water, which I know we're excited about.
Yeah.
Justice League in November. It's like Remember when the summer was like the big movie season?
I know.
Now it seems like everything gets pushed back exponentially. Again, being a guy who doesn't really read DC or Marvel or American comics in general, and really only knows this stuff from the movies, I like what I see so far.
No, it definitely looks cool. Like, I'm glad we got to see, like, a good amount of everyone, too.
Yeah.
You know, because some of the trailers before seemed like it focused only on, like, you know...
The characters with lesser CG elements. Well, it's because, again, the film was, you know, still, I think, partially production, going into post-production, so a lot of these visual effect shots weren't completed, so they didn't really have as much... I was going to say flash to show, no pun intended. But, you know, now they have more done. They can really... and I would imagine for all you guys who are, like, big DC fans, this is probably the trailer you were really waiting for.
Yeah.
Where it really kind of shows off all these classic characters kind of doing their thing. I love the little... Apparently the little tease, like Superman, I'm assuming that's Superman at the end. That or the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
I know, right?
One or the other. Just gonna see the big T-Rex like a little cape around his neck.
Just gonna say
like, you know, save the day. At first I was like, oh, is that gonna be like a nod to like Devil Dinosaur? But then I forgot, oh yeah, Devil Dinosaur is Marvel, so he wouldn't be in there. Are there dinosaur characters in DC? If so, let me know. But no, it definitely looked cool. I like seeing all the characters. I'm really digging Aquaman. I know, like, I've never understood why people make fun of Aquaman. I'm like, well, you know, he has dominion over the largest environment on the planet. Like, why is that something to laugh at? Like, you know, he can control the seas. I'm like, that's pretty cool to me. But I'm definitely digging. I like how Momoa is playing him kind of like, I don't know, the bad boy, but he's like, you know, he's always like woo and hollering, like he's having like fun, you know. I don't know. It's like, from what I've seen in like the animated films of like in TV series, DC Aquaman was always more stoic, you know. I love how he's more like wild in this one. So I like Jason Momoa, so I'm happy for him. The Flash, I'm liking his characterization. I don't know. It looks good to me. So again, like I said, as someone who's not really familiar with this. I mean, I know of these characters, but growing up, I've never read the comics. So, you know, I only kind of know what I know from what I hear in the grapevine. But so someone who's doesn't have an invested interest, like a lot of I'm sure you guys out there do, as a trailer for a movie, it definitely piques my interest. Like, I like what I'm seeing so far. I like, you know, the tone of it. I'm glad we're seeing the Amazonians again.
Well, it looks like that's the thing. Like, who's the bad guy in this?
I know. Shit. I know. Be nice. Be nice.
I don't know anything really about DC.
I know a good buddy of ours who's a huge DC fan. Whenever I have like a DC question, I automatically
because I was like, obviously he's some sort of like, I'm assuming mythological.
Crap!
Type.
I know his name too, and every time I go to,
should I Google it?
I know. I hate this because I knew his name right before we clicked play, and every time I watch the trailer, I'm like, no shit. What is?
Looking it up.
I know his name. I always want to say Doomsday, but it's not Doomsday. I know we saw Doomsday in Batman v Superman. I know Doomsday is the guy who kills Superman in the comics. You know, the death of Superman, all that. So I know it's not. I want to say Doomsday.
Steppenwolf?
No.
That's what this says.
Is it? I don't know. I always thought the guy who's got like
that makes sense. Look at the
Darkseid, because Darkseid has the parademon. So I'm like, okay, I know they were saying that Darkseid is the villain. So is that guy we see with the helmet, is that Darkseid? Because I know I've seen images of Darkseid from the comics, and he's kind of like a big gray guy.
Yeah,
like,
this says we got our best look at Justice League Steppenwolf in today's South African trailer.
Well, there's gonna be two. Again, I apologize, guys. I'm not gonna sit here and be opposed and pretend we know all about D. So that's why I always say defer to you guys. You know, you let us know. So if I'm not mistaken, they're doing two Justice League movies, right? Like a part 1 and part 2, I think so. Unless this character, Steppenwolf, will be in the first one, and they're building up to Darkseid, maybe as like the big baddie in the second one. I don't know. Again, I know a little bit more about the character Darkseid because I've heard him more spoken among kind of my comic book friends. Steppenwolf, I've heard the name, but I don't pretend to know anything about the character. So tell us about Steppenwolf. What's his deal? What's his his power?
Again, I was gonna say obviously he's got to be some sort of like mythological.
Is he?
Character because if he's coming from Themyscira, I'm kind of assuming, like, it looks like they were keeping him imprisoned or something almost, and, like, he breaks out.
I don't know. Let us know. I like his look. He actually reminds me of Golbez. When was it? Final Fantasy 3. A little bit of the big armor. I dig that.
No, it's either 4 or 5. I always get him and X-Death confused.
Oh, yeah. But I know, I like the big armored look. And I like how a lot of their villains are kind of these big, grand...
I think 4 was Golbez and 5 was
Yeah,
X-Death.
but I'm just saying, I mean, like, I like how all these, it seems like these DC villains are kind of very big and grandiose, and I like that. I like how they're very imposing, because DC is more like the high fantasy, I feel, like, versus Marvel
the
and
big
DC.
fancy armor.
Yeah, and also, I know Marvel has kind of mixed it a bit, well, I say that, and then you look at stuff like Ragnarok. But usually the characters are more kind of... I like how DC is very grand. But DC came first. I feel like DC has more of this kind of air of prestige to it. So I like how you can right away differentiate between Marvel and DC by kind of looking kind of like the visual kind of like spectrum of it. So I like I liked Ares and Wonder Woman. How again the armor, it's just very kind of like you say, has a very...
That's just so funny.
But it's cool because I like how the mythical quality of these villains. They're kind of like, villains.
I'm just glad we're seeing more of Themyscira.
I know. That was like my favorite part of the Wonder Woman movie. So I'm glad that's not just being like, yeah, she came from there. We won't see it again.
Well, that's the thing, too. I was going to say before, like, since Wonder Woman's clearly been around in, like, the actual world for, like, over, I mean, probably like 100 years at this point.
Since World War One. But again, for like an Amazonian and the women of, Themyscira, like, 80 years or whatever, it's like no time at all. Dude.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's
so
how I was
like, obviously she's kind of, I'm like, does that make her like the leader? I hope.
It's hard.
Because she's obviously outlived everyone.
Yeah, technically she's older than Superman even, so she's she would be kind of the oldest and wisest, I guess.
And I'm like, okay, so like, obviously, I'm assuming she'll be kind of like a legend, so to speak.
Maybe, well, she's totally,
assuming she's going around saving people this whole time, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where obviously... I mean, I know in the comics and whatnot, like, Superman is, like, the leader of Justice League. But, I don't know, I've always thought, well, Wonder Woman is technically... I mean, she's not as strong as Superman, I know. But she's been around long, she's older, and, so she has more of a kind of a prestigious heritage. I've always kind of figured, like, well, really, Wonder Woman would be kind of like,
And she's technically, like, a princess.
Yeah, and again, because she's been around so long, and she's technically the oldest one, I don't know. And obviously, now that the Wonder Woman movie is done very well for itself, I'm sure the focus is shifting a bit more on the character, which is fine because I know I've always dug Wonder Woman. Out of all the people in the Justice League, she's actually my favorite character. I know I've always just dug Wonder Woman. Like, I don't know, out of all the DC movies so far, I've liked the Wonder Woman movie the best. So if that is the direction they're going, putting the focus on her, I have no problems with that. But I think they're building up to Superman. I think Superman, they've even said that basically, well, the thing is, Superman is so powerful. We'll say, why do you need the Justice League if Superman's so powerful? But I kind of like how in this story, they're kind of explaining, well, Superman's been gone. So there's a gap. They need to fill it. So instead of finding a character who's necessarily just as powerful as just Superman, they're taking all these powerful characters and they're teaming up to kind of fill that void. So as a team, they are now basically what, Superman is kind of on his own. Because Superman, from what I understand, isn't always the best team player. Because he's Superman, whereas the other guys that they're powerful, but they're not all powerful, so they kind of have to lean a little bit on each other, and together they kind of equate that power. So I like how they're explaining why the Justice League needs to come together, other than just the fact that hey, it's cool to see them all together. There's a need for it. I really dig that. So I don't know. It looks like a good movie. I know Joss Whedon is now kind of in charge of reshoots because unfortunately the previous director, there was a family tragedy. He had to leave. So I don't know how much Joss Whedon is going to be redoing of the film because, again, I know it happened late in the game, but during mostly post-production. So I don't know how much of it's reshoots versus stuff that just needs to be shot. I don't know. But regardless, it looks good. For all you guys who are DC fans out there, please, explain away the stuff that I have no doubt we are incredibly ignorant to. Tell us about Steppenwolf. Tell us how Darkseid's going to come into this, if he's coming into this, what his relation to Steppenwolf is. Because again, I like to defer to you guys because I'd rather get it from the fans than just having to Wikipedia it up because, I don't know, you guys always... We've learned more about DC doing all these trailer reactions and having you guys give us feedback that I think we probably have learned about DC in years. So it's always cool for me to kind of learn about this stuff. So please inform us, educate us, let us know, and also tell us what you think. Are you happy that we finally got a new trailer? Is it shaping up now to be kind of the movie you guys really, really want to see? Is it not? Like, give us some of your thoughts. Let us know. If you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel. I will leave a link in the description section. As always, give us some of your thoughts. We'll jump in there, comment with you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace!
Peace.